This is KGW News at noon.
We're kicking things off here at noon with this video shot along I-84 in the Gorge. This was early this morning, just before sunrise. Obviously, conditions there were pretty nasty at that hour. In fact, several school districts in the Gorge and in Clark County either delayed their start times or shut down altogether because of this blast of winter weather. This next shot we're going to show you is a live look at Highway 26 up at Government Camp. The pass completely snow covered. In fact, Rod Hill told me conditions are actually getting worse along the passes this afternoon as snow continues to fall. Did someone say Rod Hill? Yes, I did. And there he is. Rod, weather will be a big story here all throughout the weekend. So what do you have for us from the Weather Center?
Multiple headlines, and let me just take you through a little story. You know, this morning early we had the steady rain. No more steady rain today, but look at the numerous showers still feeding in from the northwest. Some heavy rain pockets at times. And then notice with me out here in the Gorge, where you see the green colors along 84 right in through here. That is the radar picking up. It should be mostly all rain falling right now, but temperatures at ground level have been slow to warm. Here's some of the ODOT cameras. Here's the Multnomah Falls parking area. Looks like the pavement's now wet. That's good news. Still plenty of snow on the ground overall. And here's what I'm talking about. Cascade Locks, 32.5, still basically freezing. There hasn't been the push of west winds to there as I thought there would be. Now, the Vista House up in elevation at Crown Point is in fact showing southwest winds now picking up to 25. So it's just taking a while, as it often does, to flush out that cold air in the Gorge. The Dalles is 34 right now. So again, there are some improving spots. Here's one of our Timberline cameras. So far, the number is 16 inches of new snow up there going back to yesterday. The winter storm warning continuing for the Cascades. Right here, the purple color, that's good through tomorrow. This was issued this morning, the dark green color here on the west side. That's a flood watch, meaning we'll be watching rising river levels all the way through Tuesday, at least at this point. And then this orange color I want to point out, that is a wind advisory for tomorrow. Some 50-mile-per-hour west winds potentially. So again, lots coming up. I'll get more into detail here shortly in our show. Right now we're at 49 in Portland with showers in the area. We're going to be hanging around 50 degrees throughout the afternoon. Drew, I have much more to get to in a few minutes, sir.
All right, we'll see you then, Rod.
Under Clause 5D of Rule 20, the chair announces to the House that in light of the expulsion of the gentleman from New York, Mr. Santos, the whole number of the House is now 434.
Topping our news headlines here at noon, the U.S. House of Representatives overwhelmingly voted to expel Representative George Santos this morning. The expulsion required 2/3 of the House to vote yes, so that's 283 votes altogether. And in the end, 311 members of the House voted in favor of removing Santos, and that includes 105 Republicans. Last month, a House Ethics Committee released a report outlining allegations that the New York congressman received and deceived donors. He filed false statements, and he also used campaign money for personal use. Santos is only the 6th member of Congress to be expelled in U.S. history. Fighting has resumed in Gaza after a week-long ceasefire between Israel and Hamas. Israel says Hamas actually violated the terms of the ceasefire by firing weapons shortly before the deal had officially ended. Reports from the Middle East say that talks do continue to try and reestablish a pause in the fighting. During the ceasefire, Hamas released more than 100 hostages, and Israel freed more than 240 Palestinian prisoners. 137 hostages remain in Gaza as the Israeli Defense Force ramps up its military operations in the Strip. NBC News reports that pamphlets dropped in southern Gaza are encouraging residents there to evacuate. But the organization Doctors Without Borders called for Israel to revoke this evacuation order immediately, claiming that nowhere in Gaza is safe at this point. The Palestinian Health Authority reports that since the end of the ceasefire today, more than 100 people have already died in Gaza, and the UN says no aid has entered the Strip. According to health officials on both sides, the death toll since the war started is now more than 16,000 people. Back here in the U.S., Sandra Day OConnor, the first woman to serve on the United States Supreme Court, has died. According to a court spokesperson, her death was caused by complications related to advanced dementia and respiratory illness. From the early 1990s until her retirement in 2005, O'Connor was the deciding voice in many contentious cases, from upholding affirmative action to approving taxpayer-funded vouchers for students at religious schools. O'Connor was 93 years old. Starting today, Washington County has a new sheriff. Undersheriff Caprice Massey took the oath of office at 9:30 this morning, becoming the county's 33rd sheriff. Massey says she's excited and humbled by this opportunity.
My main priorities right now are retention of our exceptional staff that are already here and recruitment to get a fully functioning jail back online, and to make sure that our patrol deputies and our non-certified staff have the partnerships that they need to be safe out there.
Massey is replacing Pat Garrett, who retired after 12 years in the role. Massey is the first female sheriff to serve in Washington County. All right, we're going to turn our attention to sports here for just a moment, because the Pac-12 championship game is tonight. We have 5th-ranked Oregon taking on 3rd-ranked and undefeated Washington in Las Vegas, and that's where KGW's Orlando Sanchez is this afternoon. He's giving us a look here at what's to come tonight.
The Pac-12, as we know, it ends here.
The end of an era.
This is like Game of Thrones, final season, final episode. I want this to go slow. I want every second of this game to feel big and important.
It's the Pac-12 championship. Oregon versus Washington, a rivalry that runs deep.
I lost track about how many wins we had. I just remember we had one loss. So to get this rematch again in the Pac-12 championship and the last Pac-12 championship game, it's something special.
The Ducks haven't forgotten about October's heartbreaking loss, and they've done their homework. Apply pressure to quarterback Michael Penix Jr., who lit up Oregon last time for 4 touchdowns.
This defense knows we can hit him, and he knows that we can hit him, so I feel like it's going to be a great time. First play, that's the goal. 2
prolific offenses led by 2 elite quarterbacks. Bo Nix is the most accurate QB in the country. The numbers staggering. 37 touchdowns, just 2 interceptions. Backing up the hype with results. Ducks legend Joey Harrington can relate.
I know the pressure that goes with being put on a billboard in New York City. I mean, you literally have the weight of the world sitting on your shoulders. Bo hasn't even flinched, and it's I'm absolutely astounded.
1 strong performance away from college football's most prestigious award, the Heisman Trophy.
I think we've been practicing at a high level, and then, I just think I've hit a really good rhythm at the right time.
Oregon ranked 5th, Washington 3rd. The winner likely earns a trip to the college football playoff. But longtime columnist John Canzano says, with teams like Alabama and Texas in the mix, the Ducks are not a lock for the CFP.
Not a guarantee, but that's why the style points will matter. So, Oregon's up 2 scores in the 4th quarter. Don't turn this game off, because Oregon's going to need to make a statement.
So as we mentioned tonight, the big night, Oregon, Washington, and we got one more preview from Orlando Sanchez coming up here during our news at 4 p.m. So he'll have that little preview for us before the game, a full recap after the game, and Orlando's going to stick around in Vegas for one more night. He'll have more coverage during sunrise on Saturday morning. Teachers in Beaverton, Salem, Hillsborough, and other districts are now asking for some of the same things that the Portland Teachers Union bargained for last month. Higher wages being one, smaller class sizes another. The head of the Beaverton Teachers Union told us smaller class sizes simply provide a better learning environment for students. Meanwhile, the superintendent of Salem Kaiser School District says those schools are still faced with a major budget shortfall. She says the plan to deal with that is to cut $30 million from the budget, including $30,000 from her own salary. We spoke to a labor expert from the University of Oregon who told us one of the biggest complaints from educators right now is a lack of support.
The biggest issue is that I hear of is that people feel like they can't do the job that they got into this profession for.
Oregon Governor Tina Kotek, meanwhile, says she plans to address the state's education budget, but not until the 2025 legislative cycle. She says next year the emphasis will still be on addressing the state's homeless crisis.